Good evening, folks, and welcome to another special episode of my Brewer's Advent Calendar of Beer Rating with Sean Connors. In case this is the first episode you're watching of my special Advent Calendar, basically for Christmas I got a box of beer. It's a Christmas Advent Calendar, pretty similar to what you'd get as a kid with chocolates. You know, you get 24 doors, each day you pull open a door. However, with this version, you pull out a German beer every time. It's specifically German beers. You can get different versions. I think locally they had a Belgian one as well, and I'm trying to get the local breweries to do a Newfoundland breweries. Here in Newfoundland, the last couple of years, the craft breweries has really spiked, and I think it'd be a great idea. So if anybody's watching from any of the local breweries, I sent a bunch of messages on Facebook, and hopefully they follow through. So today we're at day 6, and as per usual, I have no idea which beer I'm going to get every day. On the side of the box, they have a list of every beer that's in the box. However, it doesn't say which beer you're getting which day. So it's pretty well a crapshoot. Alright, so today we're at day 6. I have to find the number 6, which is right here. So basically you punch it out, and you got, this has been in the fridge for quite some time. Oh, I have another Hell's. They're all, as I said, German beers. And with German beers, you're going to get a lot of lagers and a lot of wheat ales. However, that's not all you're going to get. Last couple of days, I've had a couple of Marzens. I think I'm just looking what I've had. I've had a Hefeweizen, and I've had a Hell's, which this is a Hell's as well. And we'll go from there. So I'll zoom in so you can get a picture of the beer I'm getting. You're pretty well seeing it while I see it. And basically what I'll do, I'll read the can. However, most of the cans so far, they're imported beers from Germany. So all the beers have the labels in Germany, so there's not a lot of information I'm getting. However, a couple words normally I can pick out. The box has a little bit more information, just says the style of beer. And there's an app that I've been using. It's a beertasting.app. It was actually mentioned in the box. Basically, you take a picture of the beer and it gives you a brief description of the beer. As well, I've been using these cue cards I have. Basically, they're study guides for people studying to get their Cicerone. What's the word I'm looking for? Your Cicerone status, I guess, or your Cicerone certification. Basically, to be a beer expert, you get beer server, and you get Cicerone. I think it's advanced Cicerone, expert Cicerone, somewhere along that lines. All these beers, they go according to the Germany purity laws of 1516. Basically, say the original purity law says beers can only be made in Germany using water, barley, and hops. There was an exception made for yeast. My understanding, the royalty at the time, they were yeast beer people, so they added yeast to it as well. They don't mention, or sorry, not yeast, wheat, sorry. So wheat beers, they were a thing, the royal family liked it, so they made an exception for wheat instead of barley, or with barley. Normally, in the original purity laws, they don't mention yeast at all, because back then nobody was aware of yeast. Basically, they brewed their beers, they left it out in the open, and what happened is the wild yeast would actually ferment the beers. However, because we didn't know about bacteria, germs, yeast, they didn't know that. They just figured, okay, if you were faithful to your superior being, the superior being would turn your mixture into beer. Alright, let's see what we have. The beer is, it's a Hell. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of the brewery. They have a date there, 1871, so I'm assuming that's when the brewery was made. The name of the brewery, or the beer, it's Erlkonig. Erlkonig. I apologize for any German reviewers. I'm bastardizing it. It's brewed in Germany, imported by the product of Germany. Once again, the ingredients: water, barley malt, and hops. That's about all I'm getting. On the box, they say it's Hell's 5% alcohol, and that's about it. So I'm going to give my glass a quick cold water rinse. That's my normal routine, basically, just to cool down my glass a bit, get rid of any residual dust or anything that might be on the glass. Just using a beer mug today. different glasses, different beers. Alright, so let's pour it up. Really, really light color, especially from the last couple of beers I've had. Alright, that's really light color. Doesn't tell me if it's a good beer or a bad beer, it's just... not a lot of strong flavor. I'd say medium with the flavor or with the aroma. And the big test, the taste. Not a bad beer. Day 6 and I've yet to have a bad beer out of this box. For me, they're all easy drinking beers. This one, I've had easier drinking beers out of this box so far, and I've had not so easy. Alright, so it's the Hells. I'm pretty sure it's here. They have a Munich Hells, which I'm assuming would be the beer here. Okay, so let's see what the cue cards say, and then we'll go to the app. I'm pretty sure I read this already for one of the other beers. I know I did. Obviously the cue cards, it's going to be the same when it's the same beer. Okay, the Munich Hells, they say for color, straw to light gold. So we definitely got some really light colors. The bitterness out of 5, they give it a 2. Alcohol content for a Munich Hells is normally 4.7 to 5.4. This one is 5.0, so it fits in there. It says similar in alcohol and appearance to a German Pils. I'd give it that. But malt balance, so that shows off the bready flavors of Pilsner malt. For the history, it says formulated in the 1890s to compete with Pilsner style beers. Today it is the everyday drinking beer of Bavaria. So Pils and Pilsner is basically a lot of their macro breweries in North America. That's what we're getting is Pils. So this was developed to compete with the Pils. Alright, I'm going to take a picture of the can and see what that app is telling us. And once again, the name of the app is beertasting.app. Alright. Pretty simple. You take a picture of the can, it checks our database, and it gives you a little bit of information. Okay, it's bottom fermented, which basically just means it's a lager. 5% alcohol, we know that. Beer description says this beer has just been awarded the European Beer Star in the category German Style Light Lager. So it's definitely a light beer. The beers of the brewery ERL, and that's the name of the brewery, I guess, ERL, are brewed in a very slow maturing process with consistent care and refinement of the family recipes in small batches. This maturing process is as rare as is worth seeing in the age of process automation and mass production. Fermentation always takes place hand-guided in open fermenting vats, as is normally the case with wheat beers. In the brewery cellar, the ERL beers ripen underground after fermentation in horizontal storage tanks. So not a lot of information there. This app, I find it's kind of cool. However, I wish it would give a little bit of information on the specific style of beer. I know obviously it'd be repeating themselves a lot, but just a little bit more information. That'd be my preference. It's as I said, it's a light beer in flavor and appearance. More appearance for me. It looks like a light beer. I mean, come on. Taste-wise, it's not a strong beer, but from looking at it, I would actually expect the taste to be a little bit lighter. It's not a strong beer by any means, don't get me wrong. Now my rating, as per usual, I give it out of 5, with a 1 being, don't like it, it's going down the drain, can't even finish it. A 2 being, not a fan, however, I don't want to waste beer, so I'll finish it. A 3 is a good beer, a 4 is a very good beer, and a 5 is the best beer heaven's open. Now to give this one a rating, the ERL Hells, I think I'm comfortable giving this one a 3. It's a good beer. I'm definitely enjoying it. However, it's to me, it's almost like there's something missing. Can't really put my finger on it. It's a good beer, don't get me wrong. But a 3 is basically saying it's a good beer. Very good. I'm actually quite surprised. I'm normally a later beer drinker type of person, so I kind of expected I would enjoy it a little bit more. Yeah, I think a 3 is good. It's almost like, I can't even explain it. I enjoy light beers, and this is definitely a light beer, but it almost feels like there's something missing. I take a swig and I'm enjoying it. Oh God, I'm tempted to give it a higher rating, but it's not a bad beer, folks. Don't get me wrong. All the beers I've had so far is good, but for some reason, to me, it just feels like it's missing something. I can't really put my finger on it. It's like I said, from the look of it, I actually expected the flavor to be a little bit lighter. So it's not the flavor that's missing. I can't really put my finger on it. It just doesn't. It just doesn't do it for me any higher than a 3. I can't put it any other way. I wish I could, but for me, I'm not one of these people that can. Like, I look at some of the reviews for the beers. People, they can get the individual taste, whether it's banana or bread or whatever. Unfortunately, I'm not like that. For me, it's either I like it or I don't. And a lot of times, there's no specific reason that I can pinpoint. It just doesn't do it for me, or it does do it for me. And this one, I like it, but it just feels like there's something missing. I wouldn't hesitate to have another one by any means, so I think a 3 is probably the highest I'm going to give it right now. So there you go, folks. That's my rating for the ERL Hells, or they just call it Hell. You might see it Hells, H-E-L-L, or you might see it H-E-L-L-E-S. Either way, you're going to get the same style of beer. So there you go, folks. That's my rating for this week, for this day. Hopefully you can join me tomorrow, and we'll try day 7 and see what delight we have. Until next beer, as always, enjoy responsibly, and cheers.